Marinas look like paradise from the parking lot. White boats, blue water, the smell of sunscreen and diesel. Then you actually work at one. Or you own the slip next to someone who bought their first pontoon last Tuesday. What happens on the docks would embarrass a reality show, and the complaints people file with straight faces are somehow even better. 1. A woman docks a rented pontoon by hitting the fuel pier at full throttle, tears a fender off, and then writes a 2-page complaint saying the Marina positioned the dock in a confusing location. She has rented that same boat 3 summers in a row. The dock hasn't moved. The fuel pump has been in the same spot since 1994. But somehow the Marina moved it just to inconvenience her personally. The dockhand had to fish her sunglasses out of the water while she was still yelling. 2. A guy calls the harbormaster to complain that seagulls are pooping on his boat. He wants the Marina to control the wildlife. Not scare them. Not install spikes. Control them. Like the Marina has a seagull HR department. The harbormaster politely explains that seagulls are protected under the Federal Migratory Bird Treaty Act, which is a real law with real fines. The guy asks if that means the government will pay for his detailing. 3. Somewhere between the third margarita and the sunset cruise, a couple from Ohio decides their rental boat is haunted. The bilge pump keeps kicking on by itself, which is exactly what bilge pumps do when there's water in the bilge. That is literally their entire job. But these two are convinced a ghost is trying to sink them. They demand a refund and a spiritual cleaning of the vessel. The Marina offers them a free bottle of water and a slow walk back to their car. 4. A man in a 50-foot yacht complains that the dock lines are too rope-like. Not too thin, not too rough, too rope-like. The dockhand asks him what he'd prefer. He says something more modern. Nobody knows what that means. Nobody has ever known what that means. He leaves a 1-star review saying the Marina is stuck in the past because they use rope to tie boats to docks, which is how boats have been tied to docks for roughly 4,000 years. 5. A woman brings her poodle onto a rented sailboat. The poodle jumps overboard the second the sails go up, and she blames the Marina for not warning her that dogs might not enjoy sailing. Her exact quote in the complaint, "Nobody told me the boat would tilt." That's called healing. That's the entire point of a sailboat. The dog was fine. The dog swam to a nearby kayaker and got a granola bar. The woman is still writing angry emails a full year later. 6. After nearly 2 decades of running the same family marina in Michigan, an owner tells me the strangest complaint she ever got was about the sound of water. A guest in the overnight slip filed a formal grievance because the waves kept slapping the hull. She wanted the marina to turn down the lake. Not the music from the tiki bar, the lake itself. The owner framed a printed copy of the email and hung it above the coffee pot in the office. 7. A guy backs his brand new bass boat down the ramp with the drain plug still sitting in his cup holder. Water rushes in. He panics, hits the gas in reverse, and buries the trailer up to the fender wells. Then he blames the Marina for having a ramp that's too steep. Ramps are supposed to be steep. That is what a ramp is. The Marina staff pulls him out with a tractor and gently reminds him about the plug. He leaves furious, dripping, and somehow still convinced it was their fault. 8. A woman calls the office to say her boat smells like fish. It is a fishing boat. She has been using it that morning to catch fish. She wants the Marina to detail the interior for free because the water in this lake must be contaminated. The lake is fine. The lake is doing what lakes do. Her cooler is what smells, because she left 3 walleye in there for 6 days in July. The dockhand opens it and nearly passes out on the pier. 9. Halfway through the busiest weekend of the entire summer season, a customer walks into the Harbormasters office and demands to know why the Marina doesn't have valet parking for boats. Not for cars, for boats. He wants somebody to drive his 42-foot cruiser into the slip while he sits at the bar. When told that's not a service offered anywhere in North America, he threatens to write a review that will end this business. That review is now pinned to the break room fridge. 10. A retired couple complains that the Marina's floating docks move too much. They are floating, on water, which moves. They wanted the Marina to install the kind that stays still. Those are called fixed docks. And they don't work in places where the water level rises and falls, which is essentially everywhere with a lake or an ocean nearby. The dockhand tried to explain seasonal water levels. The husband walked away halfway through and later described the conversation as condescending. 11. A man writes a 2,000-word complaint about the smell of diesel at the fuel dock. At the fuel dock, where they sell diesel, he suggests the marina consider a different fuel. Like they can just decide on a Tuesday to run every diesel engine on the lake on lavender oil instead. He copies the mayor, the governor, and someone at the EPA. The EPA does not respond. The dockhand prints the email out and reads it aloud at the Christmas party every year. 12. In one of the more unforgettable calls the harbormaster took that summer, a first-time boater wanted to know if he could return his boat like a rental car. He had owned it for 6 weeks. He bought it new. He just didn't like it anymore. When told that boat dealerships don't do returns, he asked if the marina could buy it back at full price and resell it. The marina is not a dealership. The marina rents slips. This distinction did not land, no matter how many times it was repeated. 13. A woman complains that the seagulls at the marina have bad manners. Not that they're loud, not that they're messy, bad manners. She wants the marina to post signs teaching them to behave. In English. She is completely serious. She is holding a printed list of suggested rules. Rule number 1 is no yelling. Rule number 2 is no staring. The dockhand nods, takes the list, and files it in the trash the moment she is out of sight. 14. A guy shows up to his slip with a jet ski, a pontoon, a fishing boat, and a small sailboat, and demands the marina store all 4 in one slot he pays for. When told he needs 4 slips, he accuses them of price gouging. He then tries to tie all 4 together and leave them there like a floating traffic jam. Security has photos. The photos are legendary. He is now banned from 3 separate marinas on the same lake, which honestly takes real effort. 15. During a particularly rough 4th of July weekend on Lake of the Ozarks, a woman marches up to the office and demands the marina cancel the fireworks. Her dog doesn't like them. The fireworks are being launched by the city, from a barge a mile offshore, in front of about 40,000 people. The marina has no more authority over that show than she does. She left a review calling them complicit in animal cruelty. The review has been up for years. 16. A man rents a boat, runs it aground on a sandbar that has been marked on every chart of that lake since 1978, and then tries to sue the marina for not personally telling him about it. His lawyer sends a stern letter. The marina's lawyer sends back a copy of the chart, a copy of the rental agreement he signed, and a photo of the giant orange sign at the ramp that literally says, "Watch for sandbars." The case goes nowhere. The story lives forever in the break room. 17. A woman calls to complain that her rented kayak is the wrong color. She booked online and expected red. She got yellow. She demands compensation for emotional impact. The marina refunds her the $6 she paid extra for a premium kayak and swears never to mention colors on the website again. To this day, their kayak page just says, "Colors vary." 1 sentence, 2 words. Learned the hard way after a very long phone call. 18. After more than 30 summers behind the counter at a small marina in Maine, an old dockmaster told me the worst complaints always came from people who had never touched a boat before that morning. They didn't know what a cleat was. They didn't know which end was the bow, but they were absolutely certain the marina had wronged them somehow. He kept a notebook of the best ones. He's threatening to publish it someday. I genuinely hope he does. 19. A guy in a rented pontoon calls 911 because he can't find land. He is on a lake. Lakes have shores. Shores are visible from essentially every point on a lake. But he panicked, spun in circles, and convinced himself he was in the open ocean. The Coast Guard actually got called. They found him a quarter mile from the marina, drifting slowly, waving a beach towel like a flag. He tipped them $10 and asked for a receipt he could expense. 20. A couple demands the marina remove a family of ducks nesting near their slip because the quacking is affecting their vacation experience. Ducks, again, are federally protected. You cannot just relocate a nest because someone from Dallas doesn't like the sound. The marina explains this politely. The husband threatens to move the nest himself. The dockhand explains that's a federal offense with fines that can climb into the thousands of dollars. The husband suddenly loves ducks. 21. A man buys a used sailboat site unseen off an online listing, has it delivered to the marina, and then complains that the mast is too tall for the bridge on the way home. That bridge is a fixed height. It has been that height since the Eisenhower administration. He wanted the marina to lower the boat so it would fit under. There is no button for that. He ended up hiring a crane. The crane cost more than the boat. 22. A woman writes a scathing review because the marina's Wi-Fi doesn't reach her boat, which is anchored 200 yards offshore. She was not tied up at the dock. She was not paying for a slip. She just felt entitled to signal because she could see the building. She lists this in her review as false advertising. The marina's website has never once mentioned open water Wi-Fi. Nobody's does. That's not how routers work. 23. Standing barefoot on a burning hot aluminum ramp at 2 in the afternoon, a tourist somehow finds it in himself to blame the marina for the temperature of the metal. It's July. It's Arizona. The sun is doing its normal job. He wants a discount because his feet hurt. The dockhand offers him a pair of $5 flip-flops from the shop. He calls that an insult. Then he buys them anyway and wears them for the rest of the week. 24. A woman rents a paddleboard and immediately falls off. Then again. Then a third time. On the fourth try, she gives up, walks back to the counter soaking wet, and demands a refund because the paddleboard is defective. The dockhand watches her friend get on the exact same board and paddle away perfectly. She revises her complaint to say the water is defective. That's the version she leaves on Google. 3 stars, water was defective. 25. A boat owner in Florida files a formal complaint that the marina's pelicans are too aggressive. Pelicans are not aggressive. Pelicans are basically flying grocery bags with attitudes. But this guy has been feeding them anchovies from his cooler for 3 weeks straight, and now they consider his boat a floating buffet. The harbormaster tells him to stop feeding them. He refuses. He then complains again the next week that the pelicans won't leave him alone. 26. A guy in a brand new speedboat guns it out of the no-wake zone about 400 yards early and swamps 2 kayakers, a swim platform, and somebody's grandmother sunbathing on a dock. When the marina fines him for reckless operation, he writes an angry letter claiming no-wake zones are just a suggestion. They are not. They are enforceable under state law with fines in most places between $100 and $500. He learns this the second time. 27. A retired man complains that the fish in the marina harbor are the wrong species. He wanted bass. There are bass, but there are also carp, and he does not care for carp. He wants the marina to remove them. Marinas do not curate fish populations. That's not a thing. He writes to the state's Department of Natural Resources. The DNR responds with a very polite letter explaining that the ecosystem is not a menu. He frames the letter as evidence of a cover-up. 28. A woman tries to return a life jacket she bought a year ago because it doesn't match her new bathing suit. The tag is off. The straps are salt-stained. There is visible sunscreen residue on the collar. But she is completely serious. She wants store credit. The marina shop has a strict no-return policy on safety gear for very obvious reasons, and she calls that discrimination against women who care about aesthetics. The dockhand behind the counter is a woman. She does not care. 29. On a hot Saturday afternoon at a busy marina in South Carolina, a family walks in and asks the harbormaster where they can rent a boat that drives itself, like a Tesla, but on water. The harbormaster explains that no such consumer product exists, and even if it did, you'd still need to be certified to operate it under state law. The father accuses him of gatekeeping the future. They leave in a huff and, presumably, go bother somebody else about self-driving boats. 30. A guy anchors overnight in a designated no-anchor zone, wakes up to find his boat has drifted onto private property, and blames the marina for not warning him about the current. The current is on the chart. The no-anchor zone is on the chart. There is literally a buoy with a sign. He didn't look at any of it. He tried to invoice the marina for towing costs. The marina laminated the invoice and hung it on the wall as a souvenir. 31. A woman calls the office to complain that her boat is The wrong shade of white. She had it detailed at the marina, and now she says it looks cream, not white. The detailer offers to redo it. She says no, she wants compensation for the psychological effect of an inconsistent hull color. The marina does not have a line item for that. She threatens small claims court. She does not follow through, but the story is now in the training manual. 32. A first-time boater launches at the ramp, forgets to untie the boat from the trailer, and drives his truck into the lake, trying to figure out why the boat won't float away. The truck is now underwater. The boat is fine. He blames the marina for not having clearer instructions on the ramp. There are, in fact, laminated instructions on the ramp. There is also a giant sign. He drove past both of them. The tow bill is genuinely upsetting. 33. A woman files a complaint that the marina's showers are too watery. Nobody knows what that means. The manager asks her to clarify. She says the water comes out too fast and hits her too hard. That's called water pressure. That's usually a good thing. She wants the showers converted to mist mode. Marina showers do not have a mist mode. She leaves a 2-star review titled Aggressive Plumbing. 34. A man rents a fishing boat, catches nothing all day, and demands a partial refund because the marina didn't stock the lake properly. The lake is a natural body of water. It has been stocked by the state for decades. Nobody at the marina has any control over fish behavior. He calls fishing false advertising and threatens to report them to the Better Business Bureau. The BBB does not have a category for that. He tries anyway. 35. After 3 days of dealing with a particularly difficult transient boater, the dockhand at a Great Lakes marina finally snaps and just asks the guy what would make him happy. The answer: I want the water to be warmer. That's it. That's the complaint. Not the service, not the price, not the amenities. He wants Lake Superior in early June to be 75 degrees. The dockhand walks away without a word and takes his first vacation day in 2 years. 36. A couple insists on being upgraded to a bigger slip for free because their boat looks small next to the neighbor's. Their boat is 32 feet. The neighbor's boat is 58 feet. It is not a marina's job to protect anyone's boat-related self-esteem. The manager offers them a spot at the far end of the pier where everything looks about the same size. They actually take it. They also leave a 5-star review. Something worked. Nobody knows what. 37. A guy tries to bring his emotional support parrot onto a rental kayak. The kayak does not have a designated parrot area. The parrot is not wearing a life jacket. The parrot bites the dockhand. He then blames the marina for not accommodating certified animals. The parrot is not certified. There is no such certification. Emotional support animals are not covered by the same laws as service animals under the ADA, and none of that applies to a kayak anyway. 38. A woman leaves a 1-star review because the marina's soft-serve ice cream machine makes swirls instead of straight lines. That's how soft-serve works. That's the entire mechanism. She wanted the ice cream in clean stripes like a birthday cake. The teenager working the counter tried. He really tried. There is a photo somewhere of his best attempt. It does not look like a birthday cake. It looks like sadness in a waffle cone. 39. A boat owner insists the marina replace his dock lines for free because they've gotten wet. Dock lines live in water. That's their environment. That's like complaining that your shoes have touched the ground. He also wants new fenders because they smell like rubber. Fenders are made of rubber. This man has owned a boat for 11 years. 11. The dockmaster now keeps a bingo card of his complaints and has filled it twice. 40. In the middle of a routine slip inspection at a marina outside Tampa, a customer runs up screaming that his boat has been stolen. The staff panics. They call the police. Then somebody notices his boat, right where he left it, one slip over from where he thought it was. He had walked to the wrong finger pier. He blames the marina for not labeling slips clearly. There is a giant number on every single piling. He walked past his own 3 times. 41. A man tries to file a noise complaint against the loons, the birds, the ones that make that iconic haunting call across every northern lake in America. He wants the marina to silence them. Loons are federally protected under the same treaty that covers seagulls, hawks, and about 1,000 other species. You cannot silence a loon, not legally, not physically, not spiritually. The Marina prints out a fact sheet. He calls the fact sheet propaganda. 42. A woman rents a boat, gets seasick within 10 minutes, and demands a refund because nobody warned her the water would be wavy. It is a lake. It is windy. Waves are what water does when the wind blows. This is not new information. This has been true for the entire history of the planet. She writes a review titled, "Marina hid the truth about waves." That review is now genuinely famous in the local boating community. 43. A retiree docks his sailboat, walks up to the office and complains that the sunset was in the wrong direction. He was expecting it over the water, but the marina faces east. Sunsets happen in the west. This is not something anyone can fix. He wants the marina to move. The marina cannot move. It is attached to the ground. He leaves a review recommending better orientation for future development. The marina has existed since 1962. 44. A guy shows up with a boat that is clearly on fire. Actual flames, actual smoke, actual crackling. He does not want the marina to call the fire department. He wants them to handle it discreetly because he doesn't want his wife to know he took the boat out without asking. The fire department comes anyway. His wife finds out. The marina refuses to be part of any future cover-ups. This is now written in the rental agreement, no joke. 45. A woman complains that the marina's parking lot isn't scenic enough. Parking lots are not usually scenic. That is not their purpose. She wanted a view of the water while sitting in her car. There is a view of the water. It's called the marina. You get out of the car and walk 20 feet. She calls that excessive effort. She also leaves the car running for 2 hours while she sunbathes on the dock. On a 100-degree day, the car is not okay. 46. A first-time boat owner asked the marina staff to teach him how to drive his boat. That is a reasonable request. The marina offers lessons for a fee. He refuses to pay because boats should come with drivers. Boats do not come with drivers. Unless you're chartering a captain, which is a whole different service that also costs money. He calls this hidden fees. Nothing about it is hidden. It is a job. Jobs are not free. 47. Every summer at least once, a marina in New England gets a complaint from a boater about the fog. The fog. The thing that has been part of coastal New England since roughly the last ice age. He wants the marina to improve visibility. With what exactly? A giant fan? A national weather intervention? The harbormaster suggests he simply not go out on foggy days. He calls this restrictive. Fog will restrict you. Fog does not care. 48. A guy tries to sneak a hot tub onto his boat. Not a small one. A 4-person, hard-sided, 300-gallon hot tub on a 28-foot cruiser. The marina staff notices immediately because the boat is now sitting so low, the swim platform is underwater. He argues that it's his boat, his choice. The marina argues it's their dock, their liability, and physics has a strong opinion about weight distribution. The hot tub goes home. He is still bitter. 49. A woman calls to complain that her boat's engine sounds different. Different from what she cannot say. She has owned the boat for 2 weeks. She has no baseline for what it normally sounds like. But something is off. She wants the marina to figure out what. The mechanic listens. The engine sounds like an engine. He tells her it's fine. She takes it to 3 other mechanics. All 3 say it's fine. She writes a review calling the marina part of the conspiracy. 50. A man docks his boat crookedly, blocks 2 other slips, and when asked to move says he parks how he parks. That's a car lot answer. This is a marina. Boats need to fit in their assigned space so other boats can also exist. He accuses the harbormaster of boat shaming. That is not a real thing. It has never been a real thing. He moves his boat eventually, but only after being told the marina will move it for him and charge him $150 for the privilege. 51. A woman leaves a scathing review because the marina's live bait is too alive. She wanted minnows. Minnows are alive. That is the selling point. Live bait catches more fish than dead bait, which is why it costs more and why every marina in America sells it that way. She thought live bait was a brand name. She thought they'd be pre-packaged, like cereal. The bait shop employee explained. She was horrified. She left. She did not come back. 52. Deep in the heart of every marina office, tucked into a drawer nobody opens, there is usually a file labeled Unhinged. That's where the truly wild complaints go. The ones about the moon being too bright. The ones about the geese making eye contact. The ones where somebody demanded the marina hire nicer weather. One harbormaster in Wisconsin has kept his file for 23 years. He says on his last day, he's going to read it aloud at his retirement party. 53. A guy launches his jet ski, immediately hits the throttle, and flies straight into the side of his own boat, which he had just docked. He then blames the marina for the layout of the ramp. The layout of the ramp did not tell him to accelerate directly at his boat. That was a personal decision. He has now damaged 2 of his own vessels in under 60 seconds. It's actually kind of impressive. The dockhands still talk about it. 54. A woman insists the marina refund her rental fee because a fish looked at her weird. It is a fish. Fish have eyes on the sides of their heads. They look weird at everyone. That is their entire vibe. She demands a manager. She gets a manager. The manager listens patiently, nods, and offers her a coupon for the ice cream shop. She takes the coupon. She never mentions the fish again. Sometimes ice cream really is the answer. 55. A boat owner writes a formal letter demanding the marina remove the sound of children from the swimming area. Kids are loud. That's how kids work. The swimming area is specifically for kids. It has a sign. It has a fence. It has a whole schedule of swim lessons. He wants it moved to somewhere he can't hear it. The marina suggests he move his boat to a slip on the far end. He calls that banishment. He does eventually move. He is much happier. He does not admit this. 56. After 9 seasons of dealing with the same customer at the same marina in North Carolina, the dockmaster finally asks him, gently, if he might be happier at a different marina. The customer is offended. He storms off. He books at the marina down the road. 3 days later, he calls to ask if he can come back. The dockmaster says yes, of course. He returns. He complains just as much. Everybody feels weirdly comforted by it. Some rivalries are actually just love. 57. A tourist tries to take a swan home, an actual swan, from the pond next to the marina. He thinks it belongs to nobody. Swans in the United States are generally protected by state wildlife laws, and taking one is a crime that comes with real fines and possible charges. The marina calls the local wildlife officer. The tourist is very confused. He thought swans were like park pigeons. He is escorted off the property. The swan is unharmed and unbothered. 58. A guy in a 50-foot yacht complains that the marina's dock carts are too small for his ego. Not his cargo. His ego. That is a direct quote. He wanted a bigger cart to match the size of his boat. The marina has one size of cart. It fits in the aisles. It has fit in the aisles for 40 years. He buys his own cart, brings it in, and immediately gets stuck between 2 pilings. The staff has photos. The photos are treasured. 59. A woman leaves a review complaining that the marina bathroom smells like a marina bathroom. Yes, that is what it is. That is where it is located. It is cleaned twice a day. It is inspected by the health department. But it is still a bathroom at a marina, used by hundreds of sunburned people in wet swimsuits every summer weekend. There is a ceiling on what any air freshener can do. Science has limits. The marina has accepted this. She has not. 60. A man tries to sue the marina because a fish jumped into his boat. Not a big fish. A small, panicky bluegill that leapt over the gunnel during a hot afternoon. The fish is fine. The man is fine. But he claims emotional distress from unexpected wildlife contact. His lawyer stops returning his calls after the 2nd week. Fish do that. That is just something fish sometimes do. There is no marina policy that prevents it. There cannot be. 61. A couple demands the marina install a lazy river between the slips and the parking lot because the walk is too long. It is 120 feet. There is a golf cart shuttle available on request. There is a bench halfway, but they want a floating lazy river like at a water park, so they can drift back to their car with their groceries. This is not a reasonable request. This is barely a request. The harbormaster laughs for a full minute before he can respond. 62. Some of the best complaints of all, honestly, are the ones that come from people who love the marina. They just want it to be perfect. So they nitpick the wave height, the temperature of the ice, the shade of blue in the paint on the office door. They stay for decades. They know every dockhand's name. They complain constantly. And when the marina closes for winter, they're the first ones asking when it opens again. That's the whole thing, right there. Marinas are where the ocean meets human confidence, and confidence usually loses. If you've ever worked the docks or lived through a wild neighbor at your slip, drop your best story in the comments. Which one here made you laugh out loud? Hit like, subscribe for more, and I'll see you on the next one.